Hey everyone, it's Joe and Isaias here from the-automator, and today we have an interesting overall topic. It's really kind of funny because we stumbled upon to the topic in general in a funny way. Isaias, why don't you explain how we came on to the idea?
I was just looking at VS Code, and they came with some release notes. And in those release notes, I saw something that it caught my eye. It was like overtype mode, and I was like, "Holy crap! Is that what I think it is? That's very old, and I hate it." That's the first thing that came in. Like, what the hell? And basically, if you don't know what it is, if you type something and then you press the insert key on your keyboard, now you are in what is called overtype mode. And if you type again, everything gets replaced with what you're typing, as opposed to if you have it in normal mode, you can see that the cursor has changed. If you type in here, the text gets pushed to the side as you're typing, but that's not what happens in overtype mode. So that's what it is. They announced it, and I was like, why are you announcing that? That's so weird. Like,
That got us down the path of me going, yeah, I wrote a script in AutoHotkey like 15 years ago, 13 years ago to kill the insert key because it drove me nuts. Right? Because I'm like, you'd accidentally hit it, and then you'd look up and be like, "Oh my god!" Like
you destroyed everything you had in there, right? So yeah.
Then what was hilarious was I'm like, "Oh my god! Wait a minute! This is perfect because I'm killing the key, but we can remap it. We can use it for a different to launch something, right? Like it could be the
and then I was asking, like, what do we use the insert key for? And like, what else? Like, there's nothing else. Like, that's a key that nobody.
I did a poll. There's 3 people on the planet that actually use that insert key for what its purpose.
I was like, in 15 years, we have used the caps lock, we have used the pause and break key, the scroll lock, everything, and we're running out of buttons. What do I use? And we never ever look at the insert key because we hate it, right?
It's funny. I'm like, wait a minute, I can repurpose it,
right?
So, and then we're going to go into a couple different things. Not only can you remap it, but you can do 2 other things with this or other keys, right? But let's first off show in AutoHotkey V2 how you would kill it. How easy it is to say, when I hit this key, I don't want anything to happen.
Let's go ahead and start with that one. So right now, I use the insert key here. In this script, I just put the word insert, which is the name of the key, then put 2 colons like this. And then you can put the word return right next to it. Or, well, you can put it right next to it or below. I think it does the same thing. In V2, at least. When you run this, let me see, hold on. Oh, yeah, sure. If it is just one action, let's put it here. Yeah, that's it. So in V2, if you put it on a different line, you have to put the brackets around it like this. The first time that annoyed the hell out of me, but then I realized why it's like that. But if you want it in one line, you can put it just like this in V2. You can do this. And now, if I hit the insert button, nothing happens. And I can type, and I hit the insert button by mistake, as I usually do, and I'm not over typing anything. That's how you kill that button. It was very useful to just do that. And in V2, you just do a one-liner like that, it's gone. Perfect. But again, we can come back to, hey, what if I wanted to perform an action? Like, yeah, what about, remapping the insert key to another hotkey? Well, you can put another key in here. So every time I press the insert key, I want to send the letter A, for example. That's really not useful, but possible. You can do that. All right.
Or send a hot string, basically.
Or send a hot string, whatever you want. So that's where we started thinking, okay, hold on. And you brought up like, hey, we have this AI OCR, AI audio transcribe tool. We spent a long time thinking of a hotkey that nobody uses to be the default one, right? And then we realized, hey, what if you go to the preferences and you use the insert key? And the reason why that was a question is because when you hit keyboard here, this at the bottom is a hotkey control. And what happens with that control is that there are some keys that you cannot type in there. You cannot put the space bar. You cannot put the backspace either. You cannot put the enter key. So there, you can put a lot of other keys, but you cannot put the enter key or the backspace. They just goes to the none. So I was thinking maybe it doesn't take the insert key, and that worked. I was like, oh, that's great, because now we have a sort of dedicated button to use for AI auto transcribe that doesn't clash with nothing, because actually even in some terminals that they use the insert key is control insert to copy and shift insert to paste. So it's not just the insert button by itself. So I'm not messing with anything here. So now that I know that, and I was like, oh, wow, you could use it there. Then I was like, I personally have been using the backtick button for that. So this backtick in the English language, you don't use it that often. And I was like, when I press it once, I want to send the backtick, but if I hold it, I want an action, for example. And you made a video, when was it? Like you made a video a long time ago that kind of like talked about how you can use long press to perform an action, right? Yeah. So that's what we're going to do with the insert key. I'm going to create a hotkey that would perform two different actions, but this time I'm going to sort of merge it with the topic of, if I press it once, I want to do an action. If I hold it for a period of time, then I will perform a different action. So I'm going to do both things kind of at the same time. The first thing is we can use the key wait function. And that's the key thing here. Now that we're talking about AutoHotkey V2, it is a function. It's not the same as in V1. In V1, you had to take a look at this weird variable called error level to verify if the thing timed out or not. This is not the same now. It is a function. And because it is a function, it returns a value. So if you set up a timeout, so let's do this. I'm going to wait for the insert key to be released. The reason why I know that it's released is by default, it waits for it to be released. Now, here on the options right next to it, I can actually change that, like, wait for it to be pressed down. But if I don't do that, then it is the opposite. It waits for it to be released. And then you have an option T for timeout, and you can specify a number of seconds. So you can say 1 second, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. If you want less than a second, 0.3 is 300 milliseconds. That's totally fine. So at this point, I'm going to wait half a second for the key to be released. So by default, whenever you press the key, this is going to go. I can be very, clear about it by, I think is the up. This is the one that you can do. You cannot do down. If you don't put up, then that is down, I guess. I haven't tested that. But in this case, when you insert, it waits for you to release it for half a second. Now, this function is going to return back to you whether it timed out or not. And that's the key thing. What are we waiting for? Well, we're waiting for you to release it on time. So if you put an if statement here, the first part is true if you, if it happened within that time frame. So that means that you released it before the 500 milliseconds happened, because you're saying wait for it to be released within that time frame. If you did that, then this is what is going to happen. Well, let's do message box released before half a second, right? Now, the other part, the else now, is if you didn't release it on that time frame, it means it timed out. So if it timed out, then I want to know it timed out, right? I guess that makes sense, right? Usually I do the opposite. I usually do the not. If it didn't happen within the time frame, stop my script. So I check if it timed out, but in this case, I'm doing the opposite, right? So I'm going to do that. If I press it once, I get the release before half a second because I just pressed it and released it. But if I press and wait for it, it says timeout. So I didn't release it. That makes a really cool script because basically I can just tell it, if you just press it once, send that key. I can send itself, right? As a key here, not the word, just as a key. So if you press and release it, you're gonna send it as if I never did a hotkey or something. But if it did, indeed, you actually hold it for a long time, then I want to perform some actions like, okay, go ahead and open my browser and do this and log in or whatever, which is great. Like now we can actually have it. So if you hold it for a while, let's go ahead and record something, which is what we're doing with the AI transcription. So when you hold it is when it actually transcribes for you. But if you don't hold it, my suggestion is it should send the original key. That way you don't lose the functionality of the key. So yeah, that was a very,
but there,
and yeah,
there's the other one that we had done for a client, which had to do with, he wanted it to be counting the number of times you pressed it within a certain time period, right? If I remember.
Right. And now, how many years after that? Like 2 years after that, then I realized I can use the key wait in a loop. Like I can do that. I can loop how many times I want you to press it, right?
In this part, when you're doing this kind of stuff, because I can't visualize what's actually happening. Like I have a really hard time getting in my brain what it's doing and what it's checking in that loop of, I don't know what it is about with the key state kind of stuff of.
Right. It's really annoying, but it is doable. Like you can do that. Yeah, but that would be false. It didn't happen. I don't know why it's counting there. But the thing is, I start with one, I check for the key to be released. And if it is released during that time frame, I will count one, then wait for you to press it down again. And here, so every time is this here. If that didn't happen, then break. Okay. Yeah. So let me see. One time, didn't press 3 times, press 3 times. So now I have the 3 actions. I knew that at some point, press it. Okay, so let's do this. So count, pressed, count, and that's it. And that, as you can see, the interesting part about this kind of thing is that you can use the same button, right, to perform multiple actions, or we have a holding state or a toggle or however you want. And now we realize this is a really great button to do all of those kind of things. Right now, if I press once, twice in this case, 3 times, right? Now this should start at 0, I guess. And this should loop 3 times, I guess. So once, twice, okay, hold on. 3 times. There it goes. And that's what I meant. Like you can set up a loop that will do this whole thing, and it keeps the count of what is going on. So this part right here could be a variable, and now you have a very nice little function that does that. So nothing. Great little topic with the insert button, and it was kind of like a little segue to these kind of things that you can do with AutoHotkey and how flexible it is, right?
Totally. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about AutoHotkey, we have a great AutoHotkey V2 courses that come with a double your money back guarantee. So check